Good evening, everybody. This is Barry Fear here. I'd like to present part 2 now of episode 70. Sorry I couldn't bring the full show to you, so here it is. I hope that you are enjoying the episode so far. On Monday on episode 71, we'll be going over the history about the About again. And Mark and I really have enjoyed bringing the show to you. So stay tuned for part 2 coming up very soon. Welcome back, viewers of part 1 on Tuesday, January 17th. While we're waiting for the leftovers to cook, Mark and I would like to say a really big thank you for joining us on the ride in Queensland, and we'd like to take you back now to May 30th of last year, where Mark and I started this program called Out and About. Now, before we commenced Out and About, Mark and I met at Brave Park, and we got our days worked out. Now, Mark was only working with me once a week back then. And then on Monday, May 30th, 10 o'clock in the morning, that's when Out and About was born. Now, we won't go into detail of how Out and About began because there are some videos up from last year about it, so we don't need to keep pressing the repeat button. But with 6 more weeks of out on this program to go, well, we're nearly halfway through week 1. It's just going like well. And here's Mark to tell you about the remarkable achievement that I have done to get this program up and running for you folks. Here he is. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Barry. Good afternoon, viewers. Absolutely. It is. It's a labour of love for you, Barry, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So you love putting together the videos and then having to do all the technological wizardry to get them up onto YouTube and provide people with not just an insight into the difficulties and I suppose the lifestyle that you lead, but to try and inspire people to not only have a go themselves, but have a look around, see what they think they might like to try and give it a go. But if they're nervous, they can also ask you to give it a go and see how it pans out and learn what they need to do or have, or how to go about getting somewhere, or who does have good access for electric vehicles, electric motor vehicles, or wheelchairs, I mean, and those restrictions that you have on movement, whether you can overcome them or the destinations where there aren't those restrictions on your movement?
So, our first outing was on the Story Bridge. Now, we won't tell you the nitty-gritty of that because we've already covered that. So, that was the original episode was on episode 17. On episode 17. Now, funnily enough, we went a long way back to Bray Park. And again, we wanted to play it ourselves. But then, on episode 21, that's when things fell apart for both Mark and I for a couple of weeks. We got the COVID. Now, we did episode 21 out of Scarborough, had lunch at the iconic Morgan Seafood, okay, and then by 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I went down like a tire, and I was more ready for bed. Here's Mark.
Yes, you were in a bad way that day. It didn't help that we had to wait so long for a taxi, and just sitting out waiting was not doing you any good at all. You were just getting worse and worse and worse the longer we sat there. So it would have been a lot better had the taxis been abundant and easy to get hold of. But that is one of the other things that we've learned along the way is they definitely are not either abundant or easy to get hold of.
And by the time I got home, I was in bed, and when I had the COVID test, 2 lines showed up. That's it. 12 days of isolation, and that not very good at all. Very frustrating time for both Mark and I, and then June ended and my isolation ended, and luck would have it, the Friday Follies began because the Friday person that I had unfortunately had to leave, but we won't go into that on the show. We have done some really excellent videos by showing you the many different sides of the north side, but now I'm on the south side. Here's Mark.
Yes, for people that have only a limited understanding of Brisbane's geography, Barry's moved from Bray Park, which is in, well, it's not even in North Brisbane. It's beyond the Brisbane limits and in the Pine River Shire. So technically, it's not even in Brisbane, but it's north. And now we're in Ebbw which is out of Ipswich, which again is technically not Brisbane, it's south of Brisbane. So there's about, probably 80, maybe not that many, maybe 70 kilometres from Bray Park to it.
And
Time to check the oven.
so time to check the oven, so we'll take a break. So like we won't tell you tell you all the exciting things that we've done since May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, so that's 8 months worth. And this is my 9th month. And while we do have you here, sadly, I will be heading back and recommencing my Sydney production. I don't want to have to tell you guys sad news, but it is as a producer and a presenter of this program, you sometimes have to break the show. Here's mine.
Absolutely. And this just gives you the opportunity to come up with a new show, Barry, to be honest. And obviously you can't continue out and about in Brisbane. So when you head back to Sydney, you'll be able to either follow a similar line of content or create a completely new show with a completely new point to make and new stories to tell everyone. So it gives you a chance to rejuvenate.
And what does it mean, so that the viewers know? Rejuvenate.
Oh, to renew. So just to bring it new life and bring your shows some new content, new style, new everything.
And new intro and outro. And so guys, it's not as though I'm not gonna disappear off YouTube, but it's just that, like I said before the break, I've given Queensland a good crack, and unfortunately the egg hasn't cracked. Here's Mark with that analogy now.
I'm not sure what to do with that analogy. All I can think is, without the cracked egg, you can't have scrambled eggs. So,
without the cracked egg, well, you can't have egg and bacon pie.
That's true too.
And what's the point of giving something a go if it's not going to work? We also have said this today. So guys, please, as we take you out to the lunch break, and 5 minutes, at 7 minutes after 1, the show is not over yet because we've still got 2 hours of fun topics to talk about. But today, it's about me and the history of the show, and why we've had to bring the show to an end. And we will tell you about it after the break. Here's Mark to take you out.
All right, well, it's lunchtime and the leftover pie from yesterday is reheating in the oven. And as Barry said, we'll be back after lunch with more.
Stay with us. The second topic today on the show, or the second part, I should say, my bad, is about my move to NSW. And this is quite an exciting time for me because I deserve to be happy. And how did I arrange for that to happen? Well, on the 31st of May last year, I met with Derek back in Bray Park, but Mark wasn't with me at that time. There were no vacancies at that time then. But before I did arrange to go to NSW, I met with Derek and we discussed the options. Derek, if you are watching, good morning to you. And I had to think, do I have the funding for it? Well, I didn't have the funding for it back then. And that's how my frustration started. But I won't go too much into that. Okay? But the positive side, the buttered side of the bread, as I'd like to call it here, okay, is I'm going to eat it and enjoy every moment of my happiness. And you may recall on episodes 47 and 8, that's when the good news came through. Here's Mark to tell you about it. Good morning once again.
Good morning all. Yes, it was a big day. You'd been waiting a long time to hear, and you'd persisted in trying to find out why there was hold-ups. And I think the first hold-up was just a misunderstanding, I think, that led to a couple of months of waiting around for the next chance for a positive step forward. But once you got the news that, yes, you could move back to Sydney and all they had to do was really organise accommodation, then that was a big day.
And I was jumping out of my chair, like going boing, 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 like a kangaroo. Couldn't sit down. Here's Mark now.
Yes, you were extremely excited, and not just because of the good news, but that you'd had to work hard to get that good news. And it was very satisfying to see your effort come to fruition. So it was the fact that you'd worked hard to achieve an outcome and you'd achieved the outcome, and that you were desperate to get back to New South Wales and it was now approved. So it was a very exciting day.
And you may recall on one of the episodes, before we brought one of the episodes to you, it was episode 61, I ended up having to get a department's thing in the line and say, can you give me a date, please? So I wouldn't be stuck up here for another 15 or so weeks. Because like we said yesterday, if you do not ask or say anything, you will not get. Here's Mark now.
Yes, you persisted in making sure everyone who could and needed to know that you wanted to move actually knew that you wanted to move. And it wasn't easy because quite a number of people need to be involved, and until everyone thinks it's official, no one really does terribly much. So it's only through persistence that you can drive that outcome. And as it was, even with persistence and drive and continually following up, it still took quite a long time.
But like going back over one of the rules, guys, if you are rude about it, the project will be stopped and the phone call will be stopped also. And you will potentially be told off about it and maybe asked to call back or email the person when you are ready to be more civil. Or should I say, until you are ready to be civil and listen to other people's opinions, then people may email you back or call you back. Here's Mark.
Yes, you're talking about a specific case of dealing with government and support networks, and they're militant about respect. I wish it went both ways.
And
it does seem to be a very one-way expectation of respect. So, but at least you start off knowing you're dealing with respect militants, and anything that's even slightly contentious is probably going to be seen to be rude. And you just need to be very careful in your communication and make sure that you don't use any type of language that could be interpreted as aggressive, rude, inappropriate, all of those things. So you've just got to bear that in mind when you start these conversations.
because we did bring this up on November 28th on episode 58. But we don't need to tell you again because we've given you all the tools. But getting back, guys, to my move to New South Wales, and I can tell you right now I'm looking forward to that. And CPA, if you are watching, thank you for helping me out here. Thank you to Derek. Thank you to everyone. Here's Mark.
It's been a big team effort, led by yourself, and realistically, you've done all of the prodding, poking, requesting to get things to happen. And whilst it's taken a long time, those wheels are in motion, and hopefully you will be heading back to Sydney at the date that they've specified.
Yes, I am really looking forward to this. I can tell you that much. And I deserve it because after the way I've spoken to people, being civil about everything, not going off my brain, and not saying you beep, you beep, you beep. So don't mind the beeps, guys. That's just so I don't use offensive language on the show. Okay, so I just said a couple of minutes ago, I chose to do things the right way. And here's Mark.
Well, as we've already said, Barry, you did all the right things. You persisted, you stayed civil, you kept all your communication very polite and clear. So the outcome should never have been in doubt. So it's reward for following the process as it's meant to be done. And it'd just be nice if things wheels turned a lot faster. But apart from the need to constantly have supporting paperwork from, party, the process works.
And if you do things the right way, guys, the potato will spread evenly on top of your on top of your pie. That's just a quote. If you have warm mashed potato, guys, it will spread evenly, okay, on your mince, and you will be able to eat it. End of quotes. Well, it's coming up to 5 minutes past 11 now. And just some breaking news just in. Severe weather warnings in place for southeastern Queensland. So wherever you are, be prepared. Because I've just looked it up. So be prepared, okay. Well, now it's time to get this white Christmas organized, and we will tell you what we're doing. So here's Mark to close the first part of the show with that.
Barry, White Christmas.
Or
white yum. That's for the, from January until November it's white yum, and then you can have White Christmas again.
So white yum, we're calling it. So let's go and whip it up, and we'll get back to you.
All right.
So
see you soon.
See you soon, guys. While we're waiting for the white yum set in the fridge, I'd like to tell you the story about my future with Queensland. My future with Queensland, well, did I achieve this goal? Not really. I think you all realize by now that I've squeezed all the oranges. And as sad as it is, I've tried to put a shoe on that will fit so Mark and I can do more episodes with you, take you out to places and enjoy the surroundings here. But unfortunately, the shoe would become too tight. And that's my analogy. When something doesn't work, you can't just go stab, and then force it to work. Because viewers, it's not the way I play the game. So if if something doesn't work, please don't push yourself and exert yourself. Here's Mark to open the rest of today's show with that.
Thanks, Barry. I'm taking it that you mean if something isn't working, don't keep trying to make it work. Just accept that this doesn't work for you and move on.
Because if you know, not only for my sake, but for those of you that are away or might be away from your loved ones, don't keep forcing something to work when it won't work. Because it's like forcing your car to stop. Don't get frustrated with it. Please do something about it. Work out some strategies on how you can make the situation better for yourself, like I've done. I hadn't just sat there and just gone, damn, this isn't gonna work, and then go and give it up, because that's not the way to go, guys. Here's Mark now.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is give it a red hot crack, and if it's still not working after you've given it a red hot crack, then it's not for you, and then you can move on. But in the meantime, give it a go, give it your best shot, and if it works out and you love it, great. But if it doesn't work out and it's just not going to work for you, come up with an alternative plan altogether.
But don't just say, I'm going to give up on this, because it is a negative way of looking at it. See, what I've done, guys, is really smart. I've talked to people about it, rather than come and go in my room and slam the door and sit and sulk and thinking, oh, this hasn't worked. Because, guys, I'd like to give you some useful tips today on the show. Okay, tip 1. If you know that something is not going to work, don't continue to force it to work. And don't get angry about it. Tip 2. Email whoever organized this or that and tell them what you're concerned about. Write your concerns. Be specific. Tip 3. Be honest with the person. Let them know how you feel about the situation. Tip 4. Think about how to use your words and use them wisely. Don't waste them. Tell people the truth and nothing but the truth. Tip 5. Have a chat to someone and go over the email and work out some strategies, such as, ask some questions. How are we going to make the situation better? Do I move somewhere else to get more comfortable? 2. Is there anything that he or she can do to diffuse the problem whilst you are waiting to move back? Just like I did, just like I've done. So we'd like you to take away some of the suggestions. And another tip, okay, don't stress yourself out about it. Because you're not only working yourself up, but you're making yourself feel really yucky inside. So please, guys, instead of just sitting there, do something about your problem, sort it out. And that's all you've got to do. There's nothing wrong with writing an email to whoever helps you move here or there, because they may have some strategies or solutions to help you diffuse your problem. Okay, we know it may be an overwhelming time and stressful time and you're anxious. But remember what Mark and I keep telling you. Be specific in your email. And one last tip, guys. Don't keep it to yourself. Let it out. Here's Mark.
I think that's good advice, Barry. If you can talk to people about whatever you think the problem is, and what steps should be taken to try and change the circumstances that produce that, then you should definitely have those discussions. But as we keep harping back to, unless you're absolutely honest and open with people, they will not guess what you really mean or want. So you have to be able to communicate accurately what it is that's either upsetting you or needs to be changed to make things better, or that things can't be better and you need to move. Whatever the circumstances are, you've just got to be honest.
And another thing that Mark and I would like to point out, tell the person about the problem sooner rather than later, because the sooner the five people know about the problem, they'll think, oh, we've got to sort this out. And work out how you're going to sort the problem out. Maybe ring the person up, invite them to their house for with a cup of tea, discuss with the person. Okay, grab a pen and a couple of sheets of paper. Write down your concerns, guys. Those of you that are not verbal, but someone like me, guys, I don't need to do that. Okay, because I can easily think, okay, what's upsetting me? Do I sit around and cry my eyes out? Or do I talk to someone? So perhaps so we'd like you to take some of the tips away that Mark and I have given to you today on the show. And another thing, don't lie awake wondering what tomorrow will bring. Because when midnight strikes, we know that today is another day. And here is Mark to close this segment with that.
Yes, always think about the future being better. As Barry just said, tomorrow's a new day, and these things can be changed, adjusted, moved, whatever it is that needs to happen to achieve what you want, it can be done, but it just needs to be done in such a way that everybody knows what the end goal is, so that everyone's working towards the same end.
Okay, so this to close on this segment, going over the white yam, it is absolutely delicious. So why don't you go ahead and make it yourself? And the ingredients that you need: dried fruit, dried apricots, cherries, desiccated coconut, you name it. It's all there. Whack it in a good tin and put it in the fridge, and there you go. Well, today's show is not over yet because we've still got 3 hours of fun to bring you, and we've got a phone call to make too. So here's Mark to take us out to the lunch break with that and the rest of the house tour. Here he is.
All right, thanks, Barry. Yes, lunch does approach, and as white yum is not a meal, I think we're going to have to go and check out what you've got hiding in the fridge and see what we can whip up for you.
So the show is not over yet. Stay with us, guys. You're watching episode 70 today, and we're on the home stretch now. Well, at least I am. Here's Mark.
We're looking forward to the afternoon and bringing you some more content, and we look forward to seeing you after lunch.
So stay tuned. Don't you touch that dial, because we've got plenty more to come up on the show. Well, here we are now, back on the show after devouring the egg and bacon pie. And we'll just give you the recipe for that now.
It's a tough one.
A tough one.
So store-bought puff pastry and half a dozen eggs and about 250 to 300 grams of bacon and chopped up. And you put the bacon into your pie case, so line of pie or whatever you're going to cook it in, and pour your egg mixture in. It just needs a drop of milk and to be, I'd say, lightly forked through so that it's not like a batter that you would use for French toast or anything, but quite yolky.
Well, here we are now. Okay. This program is a dedication to both Bray Park and to Ipswich. And last year in April, I came up to Queensland. I didn't know what to expect then, but I can tell you guys I was really overwhelmed and, to be quite honest with you, quite homesick. Now, my homesickness began in May, a month after I moved to Bray Park. and it was not a good thing. I was missing all my friends, my brothers, my sister, and the people that I live with, and the people that work with me, and my day off services. Now, I'm not going to lie to you people. I went through a lot last year. I had COVID, a death in the house, hospitalization, you name it, I had it. But there were some good things along the track as well. Here's Mark now to open the rest of today's show with that.
Yes, you did have a big year last year with the move, and as you said, there were lots of traumas along the way, so it was a big year. But I think the most important thing for you was that you realised quite early on that you were homesick and you did miss all those people and you were keen to get back. And as far as I know, you had already, by the time we met, you'd already said that you wanted to go back and were trying to put the wheels in motion. So, you know, the things that made you want to move back are also, I suppose, part of the trauma in that it just seems to have taken such a long time and so much talking and so many hoops to jump through to get the move organised back to Sydney. That in itself must have been another level of frustration. So it's a good year to have behind you. As you said, you gave Queensland a red hot go, and now you've got moving back to Sydney to look forward to.
And so, like I just said now, this program is dedicated to not only the people at Bray Park, but to everyone here at Ipswich. I'm not going to say the tongue twisting word, it's just too difficult. But we've only, after this week, it will be 5 weeks, and it will go like that. And to be quite honest, guys, and viewers alike out there, like Mark is right. Trauma. You know, and that's not a really nice thing to have. Because when we are, away from our families and loved ones and all our friends here, you know, you sort of think, okay, did I make the right move, the right decision in moving here or there? Well, the answer, sometimes you've got to think, well, we didn't make the right decision. But the most important thing, guys, don't beat yourself up about it. Like we've been saying today on the show all throughout. You know, don't beat yourself up. Talk to someone, write an email, get on the phone. And that is all you have to do. No one is going to be angry with you if you open up the can and let your emotions out. Here is Mark.
You are dead right, Barry. And it's one of those things where when you said about making a mistake, it's not a mistake because nobody knows the answer to the questions until you actually do it. And, it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean it was a mistake and that you shouldn't have done it because otherwise if you didn't do it, you'd always be wondering, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And now you've done it and you know you can cut. It's just that you miss people, which is perfectly normal. And you're keen to now stay close to family and you've got lifelong friends. So that kind of connection is really important for everyone and it's extremely difficult to move away from. And doesn't mean that it was a mistake to have a go.
Because don't beat yourself up, guys. Okay? Don't go bang, 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 and then bang your head against the wall because where is that gonna lead you? On the path to nowhere, basically. So what we would like to say this afternoon on the show is please don't keep anything in the can. Open up your can and tell people how you are feeling. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Even if your friends or family are 1,000 miles away, there is Facebook there, video time, email, the phone. Here's Mark.
Yep, all those forms of communication are there, and yet the one thing that you already know, Barry, is they're dissatisfying as a form of close friend communication. And, I wouldn't want anyone to have to live by remote devices for their contact with the outside world because whilst it's there for conversation, it's just not the same as being in the same room as people.
Because no matter how old you are, the gender you are, if something is not working, guys, for goodness sake, do not keep it to yourself. Let your feelings, let yourself be heard. Speak to someone. Don't bottle your emotions up. Okay, because you will feel incredibly yucky for the rest of the day or evening or whatever. And you won't enjoy what is around you. And as we said before we came back on air today, we took a lovely view of outside the front and back. So if you're feeling upset, take a book, make a cup of tea or coffee, close your eyes, think good thoughts, not the negatives. Here's Mark.
Yep. So that works for you, Barry, and that's great. So people just need to do what makes them feel good. And until you can rectify a situation, you have to learn to cope with the situation. So they kind of go hand in hand, but you're going to have to cope during the process of rectifying.
And like we've also said today on the program. Don't assume that people can read your mind, because if you play the mind games and be stupid, people are not going to help you in the future, because you are the one that is playing the game, guys. Okay, so if you want something done, please be clear about what you want, and don't assume that people know what you want, because, like we said yesterday, people will only give you what they want to give you. Here's Mark.
Yes, we've mentioned a couple of times recently, people can't read your mind, and to be honest, if you can't tell people what's going on, but you don't like what's going on, ultimately it kind of comes down to you. So you've got to take initiative for your own well-being, and if that means speaking up, then you're going to have to speak up.
Because no one is going to speak up for you if you've got a clear, good voice like I have.
Well, if you haven't spoken up to anyone, how is anyone going to speak for you?
Well,
They can't, because no one can read your mind.
and people won't get annoyed with you because, well, yeah, they keep thinking that they can read your mind. Well, Mark and I will not tolerate that. So if you've got a problem, guys, for goodness sake, speak up. Because if you don't speak up, guys, Mark is right yet again. How are people going to know what is on your mind if you don't speak up? If you can't tell people verbally what's on your mind, write an email or get on the phone to someone. It is as simple as that. Here is Mark.
Yep. So, as Barry said, if you have trouble verbalising it to people, write it down. The beauty of writing it down is you get to reread it many, many times and adjust it to try and convey exactly what you're saying, so that people don't misunderstand what you're trying to tell them. And you have a chance to think about how it might be received. So it gives you a chance to choose your words carefully and make sure that what you're saying is what you mean to be saying.
And don't be sarcastic about it. Here's Mark.
Sarcasm certainly doesn't transfer to the written word. So if you try to be funny in emails and people aren't 100% used to your style and you try and be sarcastic, it only reads as what is written. So that's what people will take out of it.
They might think, oh yeah, ha ha, very funny. Here's Mark.
Or they won't see any sarcasm at all and just take your words at face value, which is the point I was trying to make before, and it will not be what you meant to convey. If they don't know that it's sarcasm, and how can they? There's no body language, there's no tone, there's nothing to work with to interpret. So they're more likely to take it at face value rather than think that you're trying to be sarcastic. So I doubt they'll be going hard.
And neither will I. But don't make a big joke about your problem and be honest with people too, guys. Because we've spoken about honesty many times on the show and we will close with that today. If you are honest with people face to face, and in emails and on the phone, and even on Facebook, okay, people will be honest with you. But if you talk porcupines, guys, no, it won't cut the cake. Or it won't cook the bacon and egg pie. The eggs will be uncooked, the bacon will be raw, the pastry will be uncooked, and you won't want to eat that. So eating an honest or being an honest person will work, but being dishonest, guys, no, it won't work. And that's where we'd like to end episode 70. Here's a closing segment. We'd like to thank you today for joining us on episode 70. Just before we do go today, thank you for having us here on the show. And before we do go, support the RACQ Life Flight Service. They do a wonderful job. So if you've got $25 or $15, guys, buy one of their products. Here's Mark to tell you about them before we go.
Yeah, so you can purchase these products at any RACQ store in Queensland, and the money made goes to running Life Flight, maintaining the service, and it does a lot of emergency retrievals, transfers to hospitals, etc. And so it provides an excellent service to Queenslanders, and hopefully you never need it, but you're happy to support it. So you can either purchase these toys, which are only two examples of what they have, and the money made goes to it, or you can just donate directly to Life Flight at any RACQ.
And the number that we will close today's show on, that is 000. Please do not ring that number for stupid, trivial issues, please, because you are putting people's lives at risk. And if you make the wrong call, guys, that's it. You're potentially taking away the service that somebody needs, okay, because I may need that service, okay, because transport options are very limited for me at the moment. So here's Mark to close episode 70 with that.
Well, to be honest, I think you've absolutely covered off completely on 000, Barry. Don't abuse it, and hopefully you never need it. But if you do need it, please remember to use it. You know, if you think you need an ambulance and you call a relative that's an hour away to come and get you and potentially take you off, chances are you'll die. So if you've got anything that could be considered an emergency, please do use it.
Don't get someone to drive you. Call paramedics. They have equipment there to save your life, even mine.
And the advantage is that when you dial 000, they do what they call triage. So they will ask you a number of questions which will help them determine how urgent your need for medical attention is. And hopefully it's not urgent, but if it is, then they're pre-prepared when they get there. And as Barry said, they've got paramedics that can do all sorts of preparatory work or resuscitation work and provide that invaluable service. But it's certainly no good if you think you need medical attention and don't use the number, because a lot can happen in the time that it takes somebody else to get to your house who's not qualified to take care of you, and all they can do is bundle you into a car and take you to the hospital.
So when Mark rang an ambulance, if I needed it, of course he would. So thank you everyone for joining us on episode 70 today, and episode 71 coming up on Monday. We look forward to your company then. Who knows what will happen. So here's Mark to say his farewell now.
Thanks, Barry. Yes, episode 70 done. We look forward to episode 71, but it will be almost a week away. So in the meantime, take care and enjoy your life.
And enjoy the 5 weeks that Mark and I have got planned, because if you've got anything you'd like, if you'd like us to cover anything whilst I'm still here for the next 5 weeks, all you've got to do is write to us at Barry Fair Productions, 64 Bentwood Drive,
VALE.
VALE, and the postcode is
4304.
4304. So guys, that is basically it for episode 70. Thanks for your company, and we will see you on Monday for episode 71.
See you then.
Until then, I'm Barry Fair. Take care, and we will see you next time around on in the studio and out and about. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.